Anything's a hammer if you hit it hard enough. In preparation for that mountain run video we did a few weeks back, I cleared my entire memory card, which essentially deleted everything I had for the wing install. So what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna start from scratch. I'm gonna take the entire wing off the car and walk you guys through exactly how to install this. And I really like to try to keep these videos as short and compressed as possible so you guys can get as much information as quick as you need, because I know everybody out there is busy. So I'm going to jump over a few of the common questions that really surround installing a wing on a Camaro SS, SS1LE, or a ZL1. There are some slight differences and some things that you guys really need to know. Now the main thing that you guys really need to know, if you have a SS1LE, the process is going to be a little bit different. Basically the SS1LE has a bunch of holes right here on the trunk, 1, 2, 3, that you're gonna have to find a way to fill. Now what we actually did, instead of taking it to a body shop, we found somebody that wanted to swap their trunk. A lot of people like that blade spoiler look, so I just posted up on one of the Facebook groups, and within 2 weeks I had somebody willing to trade. No charge at all, very easy to do. And whether or not you decide to swap the trunks over or take off the blade spoiler and fill in all the holes, you're gonna have to get off these end caps. And the way these are held on is with some 3M tape. So this 3M kind of goes all the way around and up, and I left some of it on here on this side to show you guys exactly what it looks like. The easiest way to get it off is actually with a little bit of dental floss. So we took a little bit of dental floss and we kind of shimmied it all the way through, and eventually it'll pop right off. I know a lot of people struggle with that. Dental floss literally cut right through it and there's no issue whatsoever. We do have some residue here, but some Goo Gone and literally just kind of pressing it back and forth will allow you to kind of get off all of this excess 3M. And the final point I really want to bring up is in the installation itself. The process is almost exactly the same except for one key difference. If you go with the ZL1 1LE wing, you're not going to have to drill in any extra holes. It'll mount up to the stock SS locations or ZL1 locations. It's going to essentially be 6 bolts. You're going to pop off your old wing and pop on the new wing. This one, you are going to have to drill out 2 holes on each side to make this all work. That might be a little bit daunting for some of you, but I promise you it's fairly simple. This whole installation only took about an hour. So let's go ahead and cover exactly what tools you need to be able to pull this off and get into the install. Hopefully you guys like this wing. I think it ties together the car perfectly. So let's go ahead, roll all those clips so you guys can see whether or not this modification is right for you. So in order to pull off this install, you're gonna need a few tools that you're gonna have probably laying around the house. Tape measure, a wrench with a 13mm, and then a drill with a 5/16 bit. So now that we got all of this out of the way, let's go ahead and pull off the wing just so we can reinstall it again and show you guys. So one of the best parts about the APR wing is actually completely adjustable. When you buy a ZL1 1LE wing, there is no adjustments to the amount of attack angle that you can put on the wing. So we can go basically from 0 degrees all the way up to this number that I'm gonna put on the screen, which is gonna allow you to throttle in how much downforce you're actually gonna get on track. So the level of adjustment, as well as obviously more surface area on the wing itself, is one of the main reasons why we went with this option. It also helps that it's purely made of carbon and it's light as hell, so it's really not adding much weight to the car, and it's adding a ton more downforce, which obviously more downforce equals more corner speed, which is faster lap time. So as I mentioned, once you guys go ahead and swap over your trunk, or if you already have a SS or ZL1 trunk, you're gonna wanna pull off your stock spoiler. Now, it's very easy to do. Underneath the car, there's essentially these little weather sealed, I'm gonna say grommets, and you're gonna pop off and you're gonna be able to access those bolts inside there. They're 10mm all the way around, so you're gonna go ahead, pop that off. This is gonna come right off. All I'm gonna have to do is kind of peel back and then use some Goo Gone. So don't worry about any of this. I just kind of left it there to show you guys exactly where that tape was. Now, once you got that stock spoiler off, the very first step you need to do is actually find the center of the trunk. Now, the best way to do this is actually with some blue painter's tape. You're gonna wanna add a few strips right here in the middle, and that's gonna allow you to kind of mark exactly where those midpoints are in 3 separate spots at the middle of the trunk. Now, your center line should line up exactly where these holes are on the stock SS trunk. And essentially what you're gonna wanna do is use this crease line over here to measure straight across. And that should give you dead center of where that top hole needs to be drilled. Now, I found it helpful also to lay down some blue painter's tape right here on this crease. So it gives you a good reference point in order to measure everything off of. Then you're gonna wanna take your tape measure again, basically 21 inches from that center point over to right where we have this hole marked right here. Now, since I've already been through this, I know I might be making it look a little bit simpler than it might be, but you just want to make sure you're measuring twice and cutting once. You do have a little bit of leniency because of these pads themselves will cover a majority of where the holes will be. So if you, for some reason, screw it up once, you're gonna have a second shot at it, but you're gonna want to make sure you do the best you can to get the hole as close as possible. That way it just looks like a cleaner job in the end. You're not gonna have to worry about any shifting of this pad itself. Now that we have all of this marked off, and now that we have everything drilled out, now it's time to go ahead and mount up these pads and get our support stands all on the car. Now, the next step for the install is actually these base plates right here. And what these base plates are for is to make sure your trunk doesn't bend or pinch or anything under the downforce that it's gonna be creating. You're gonna be taking your base plates right here, and you have these little, you have 3 sets of nuts, a longer one and then a shorter one, and it's gonna line up straight through here. The actual support brackets themselves are threaded, so you're gonna basically line everything up and then it's gonna cinch itself down. There are 3 bolts. 2 of them are longer, 1's shorter, for obvious reasons that you want the longer ones near the top. The easiest way to go about that is make sure those top 2 are in. They'll loosely hang here, and then you're able to kind of grab your other bracket with the threaded holes to kind of cinch everything together. Once that's done, you can go ahead and attack that 3rd bolt. There is a pattern to actually tighten this, which is quite odd for a part like this, but you can't just go bolt everything down because you're gonna have a really hard time lining everything up. It's not an exact science how to get the stand cinched down properly. Essentially what you're going to want to do is lock down each bolt and alternate which one you're tightening, because if you go ahead and tighten the top two without starting the bottom, it's going to make it extremely difficult to get on. The last little piece is actually this cap that's going to cover right where the stock holes for the middle were. And I think that's a really awesome addition rather than having some awkward plugs there. So we're going to go ahead, all you're going to have to do is, for that piece, all you're going to do is push up the bumper, and then you're going to use two 10mm nuts, and you can get to it right underneath the car. Alright guys, so that's actually going to wrap up this install video. It's a fairly simple process. I know drilling into your trunk or drilling into your car can be scary, and if you guys want to go the 1LE route, it's definitely the easier option of the two. But I think at the end of the day, this massive APR wing really ties together with the ZL1 1LE front end that we installed, as well as the splitter. This car just looks beyond aggressive, and I'm really happy how the outside aesthetic of this car turned out. So anyway guys, I really enjoyed making this video. It's awesome to kind of continue to build this car and share it with you guys. So if you did, please drop a like and a comment and consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.